This segment of CoastLife is sponsored by the Parker Group.
Well, CoastLife, if you've been in the market to buy a home, I'm sure you've got a lot of questions. Whether you've done this a couple times before, or maybe this is the first time you've ever bought a house, things might look a little different than the last time you purchased a house. And we usually chat with our friends from the Parker Group, but we've also really been highlighting Archie because it truly has revolutionized the way that sellers sell and buyers buy. And that's why we've got James Riddle joining us on the CoastLife couch to chat a little bit more about Archie. And I think especially right now, we're starting to hear that the market is maybe making that shift to a buyer's market. Is that true? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, so it's less so specifically that it's a buyer's market and more so that everything is really just frozen. I mean, 85% of homeowners have a mortgage rate below 5%, and to make a lateral move, selling a $400,000 house and buying a $400,000 house, most Americans are going to see a $1,200 a month increase in their purchase price. And, along with that purchase price, there's a ton of different things that go into buying a home. And you're paying for inspections, you're paying for, the title work, which is the history of the house since the land was there and any deed restrictions that run with it. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And so when purchasing a home, you want to make sure that you have the easiest process possible. And so that's what Archie is really working to build. And so the way that that works is before a home that we list ever hits the market, it's had a full slew of professional inspections. That's home, that's wood destroying insect, that's everything, as well as the title work piece so that we know if there are title defects that are going to need to be addressed and cleared up before closing. And so that minimizes 20% of home sales that fall through already, and I think the number personally is probably a little higher than 20%, but that's the statistic we get. And so just with that on its face, it makes the process a lot smoother because you're not worried about something showing up on the home inspection because you've seen it before you even go see the house.
And I think that's, you don't have to worry about the paperwork. You don't have to worry about, the legality side of it when you don't have to worry about the paperwork because you guys have already taken care of that. And I think that's one of the huge parts of the headache when it comes to buying and selling a home. And I think especially if you're a new buyer, you don't really know what you're looking for half the time. So you don't know if you're like, oh, is somebody trying to pull the wool over my eyes?
Exactly. And then on top of that, the way that our process works is a buyer can go straight to our website, request a tour, and go see it themselves at their convenience. All they have to do is just upload some information, make sure that they're a real person, and then we get them in. They're able to self-tour the home with all the details, have access to the inspections, all of the disclosures, which have for decades been hidden behind red tape. But the goal is as transparent of a process as possible for every buyer.
Well, and I think that's such a relief, both for buyers and sellers, that you know exactly what you're walking into, which it should be that way. It should have always been this way.
Exactly.
And so I think that's going to be a huge relief. I also know too, you can schedule things on your own time. You don't have to worry about, rearranging babysitters and kids and dogs if you're from a seller's perspective, but also from that buyer's perspective too. That it's all so convenient. And I mean, I feel like I've said it before about Archie, but it really does feel almost too good to be true, but it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. But that feeling is real until you experience it and realize that it's real.
That's incredible. So for folks who, maybe they are ready to make that move, they're looking for their new forever home or their future home or their first home, and they want to utilize Archie, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can just go to our website, which is www.archiehub, that's archiehub.com, or they can look us up and give us a call.
Perfect. Well, James, thank you as always for carving out some of your time and hanging out with us here on the CoastLife couch and keeping us up to date with Archie because, I mean, again, I also feel like I say this every time, but it is revolutionizing the way that people are buying and selling their homes. And I think it's just to know that the process can be streamlined is a huge relief for buyers and sellers.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Leah.
Of course. We have some more CoastLife to get to, more fun after this.